Yo, this is Jumping Jack Frost, and welcome to the Frost Report. Boom! Yo, everyone, welcome along to another edition of the Frost Report. This is a very, very special edition. I've got my girl Kendra here with me, and also we got the original OG Ice-T in the building. Yo, Ice, what's up?
What's up, Frost? Happy to be here, baby. Talk to you, man. What's happening?
We are gonna, this is the part two. The first part, we had Kendra, we had Sheldon, and we had Junior on, yeah? And, you know, we got a serious youth gang violence situation here in London at the moment, which is kind of getting out of control. We got, I don't know if you heard about county lines. Do you know about county lines?
No, I'm unfamiliar with the whole situation over there, so you got to bring me up to speed.
Now, Kendra, can you bring Ice up to speed?
County lines is not something that you probably know about. It's something that's very UK based, and basically it's when people that are in the city will take drugs to rural areas to sell them and then operate from there. So they'll send their gangs from, say, London, and they'll send them out of town to go and sell drugs there and just take over the area. And they call it county lines because it's called Go Country, because when you're in London, everything outside of London is like the countryside. It ain't, but we just think that. So it's called Going Country. And so what has happened is it's like a very good business plan. It's a gang thing, but it's a good business plan of making money because it's just supply and demand. You take it, you sell it, you take it, you sell it. But what you need is workers. And what better than to have a load of kids or vulnerable young people that can't defend themselves, or you threaten them, and they are just the workforce that are keeping this going, and it's infiltrated the UK, and kids are dying on the streets because of it.
Yeah, some of these kids are like 10, 11 years old, and they are literally dying out here, like going out, like going missing. As you know, some of these kids, the gang's more like a family than sometimes their own family. Do you know what I mean? So,
Right.
So what we wanted to do, first of all, Ice, is talk about let's set the scene, yeah? The 80s, right? You was a hustler, do you know what I mean? Like, you got the differences, like, you got bangers out there, but you was a hustler, you was making money, you was, as far as I knew, you wasn't really affiliated with one gang or another. All the crews had respect for you. Could you kind of set the scene for where you came from with this, Ice?
Well, in South Central Los Angeles, the gangs initially just started, as crews from different neighborhoods, just, protecting their neighborhood, trying to see who's the coolest, who's the toughest, and that level. And when I got to Los Angeles, I had lost both my parents in New Jersey when I was living on the East Coast, and I was shipped to Los Angeles. And when I got to high school, my school was gang infested. It was the Crips. The Crips and the Bloods were both there. At the time, they weren't Bloods. They were called Brims. So you had all the different sets. In LA, a set is a division of a gang. So different side, like you guys would have, Brixton Crips. You'd have West Side Brixton Crips. You'd have East Side Brixton. Then Frost, you might have your own set. It could be the Frost Crips, so they would set up, they would break into little small units. And at that time, the gang violence wasn't really as violent as it became. At that time, it was all about fighting. That's why when you see the earlier Crips like Tookie and the famous ones, they were really big guys, because it was all about knocking motherfuckers out. Like, it was like, who is the really toughest from here? You had to fight. Like, if you was in a gang, you had to learn how to fight. At any moment, a person in the gang could be like, y'all two fight right quick.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you were really like warriors and more tough. But in the 80s, and me, myself, not being from LA, I learned quickly that joining any gang made the rest of the city my enemy. So it's like, I was closest to the Rolling 60 Crips. It's very famous because of Nipsey Hussle was a 60. That was the group, that's the gang that's connected to Crenshaw and Crenshaw High School where I went. But there's 8 Trey gangsters there, where Monster Cody made that famous, the ETGs. Then you have Harlem Crips, which are the 30s. And you have all these different sets. Then you got all the blood sets. Now, Crips refer to you as cuz. A brim refers to you as blood. So when we talk, we go, what's up, blood? What's up, cuz? But anything that's not a Crip is a blood by default. So every Crip gang will have Crip connected to it. West Side Crip, Underground Crip, Block Crip. But then Bloods are Athens Park Boys, Denver Lanes, Bounty Hunters, all the different sets, Inglewood Families, Pyrus. They don't call themselves Pyru Bloods. Any gang that's not a Crip is a blood by default, except for the Mexican gangs, which you have 18th Street, Harpies, MS-13s, all of them. They're not Crips or Bloods. So you got all these gangs going on in LA, okay? And I was able to float around just by meeting the shot callers and knowing the right people. I never had to really connect. I was affiliated, but not connect. Like, I wasn't in the set. You're not in the set till you put in work for the set, which means kill for the set. Yeah. So if you didn't put in the work, you didn't really get put on. That being said, the gangs didn't really get to the danger level they became until crack. Yeah. And that's where you guys come in. Cocaine started off being an upscale drug, a drug that the rich did, the affluent people, because to get cocaine, you had to have, a few $100s, to get high off cocaine. When crack came, you could get high off of it for $5. So it took it to the street, and it made it a more addictive drug and a more aggressive drug, but something that the hood, which you guys are finding out, could sell. And now, when you bring business into the gang situation, which the gangs weren't about business at first, you follow me?
Yeah.
It turns into a whole nother thing. It turns into organized crime. And now you've got these gangs making money. What that did in LA, it made the gangs splinter. Like, the Crips started fighting the Crips. Now it had nothing to do with, right now in LA, if you had on red and I had on blue, we don't necessarily got beef because it's more about the sets. Yeah. Which set is fighting which set. So the Crips are fighting the Crips. One of the biggest wars was Rolling 60 versus the 8 Trey gangsters. That was a big war. That was with Crips, all Crips.
Yeah.
So with the drug game, which you guys got going on, that's an entirely different issue that you guys are dealing with. It's not just gangs. You have now organized crime, yep. Which is not a simple task. It's easier to tell a kid, hey, don't join a gang, don't get involved. That's also hard to tell a kid that doesn't have a father, right? So you guys have a dilemma on your hands, and it's not one that's easily solved.
Because the thing, Kendra, you want to add to that?
It's interesting hearing you talking, because one of my questions was going to be, when you're talking about your history, not having parents, then moving out of the area and having to navigate these new social fields, because that's what you're doing. You're having to learn on your feet every time you're going somewhere. Our young people in the UK, there's young people facing that, whether they've got one parent or two parents gone. Parents are gone, they're in the area, they may get excluded from school, and they might be taken to a next area, put in care, into a next area. And do you know what's quite scary? Because you're talking that you managed to navigate them social fields by knowing not to affiliate with certain gangs. But now in the UK, because it's more compressed, our young people don't have them choices. They have to affiliate to keep safe. And that's scary.
Absolutely. See, fortunately for me, where I moved, when I came to LA, wasn't in gang territory. So my aunt, who I was living with, was upper middle class. They lived in a nice area. I didn't have to affiliate until I went to school.
Yeah.
That's different than actually living in a project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have one of my artists that I work with. He had made $1 million, and he come over my house. By then, I had moved to Hollywood. I had a nice house, and he was like still dressing like a gangbanger. And I asked him, I said, why you still look like that, homie? He said, because I still live in Compton. I still live in the hood. And I can't even let these niggas know I got money.
Yep.
You know, like, until I move out, I have to look the part. I got to play the part because that's the politics I'm dealing with. So if you move into a special area of London, you're going to have to accept those politics until you can afford to move away from that particular area. I'll give you one more example. My daughter never been in a gang. Her mother, we weren't together, but she was living with her mother. Her mother moved into an area called the Jungle. This is a heavy blood area that you might have seen in Training Day. There was a scene in Training Day where he was surrounded by Bloods.
Yeah.
This is a rough area. It's an area that used to be apartments, a whole bunch of like nice apartments that Jewish people had built. But then it ended up, you know, black people moved in. Next thing you know, no one's taking care of the area. It turned into a ghetto. It's a huge area, LA, but it's all Bloods. That's one neighborhood. So I was taking her, this was when she was in junior high. I was taking her to go get some sneakers. Now I'm affiliated mostly with Crips. So I decided I'm gonna try to buy her some blue sneakers. Yeah. She told me, Dad, I can't wear them. I'm like, why? She said, you forget I'm living in the jungle.
Yeah. Yep.
So even though she's not a gang member, she has to understand the politics of that neighborhood unless she wants problems. She's just going to have somebody question her. It could turn into an altercation. So you can't tell somebody that they don't have to deal with the politics of their neighborhood. If you're rich and you move into a nice neighborhood and you want to play your music loud, that neighborhood's going to say, we don't play our music loud in this neighborhood. So wherever you move, you're going to have to... you're going to have to fucking fall in line with the way they're running that. Yeah. Exactly.
Also, I wanted to make you aware, there's something here, we've got a problem here with the kids. They've got this thing called the postcode wars, yeah? So you've got Southwest London, the Southwest 2, Southwest 8, and they're like within...
Like sets, innit? It's exactly what you're explaining.
And these kids can't go across to there.
No.
They might live, it might be the next street, but they can't walk around there. If you go around there, you got a problem. And there's a lot of stabbings. There's been so many stabbings in the last 2 years. And there's a lot of it to do with these postcode kids, like kids being in the wrong area. It's crazy.
But you see, you got to understand, man, humans start this long before gangs. Yeah. This is just part of the way humans operate. My school is better than your school. My college is better than your college. My football team is better than your football team. Gang mentality is embedded into us when we start out as kids. The skinny girls are better than the fat girls. Yeah. It's all this tribal breakdown. So just to say, hey, this neighborhood is cooler than this neighborhood, that's just part of where we're already psyched up to do that. You know what I'm saying? I could be wearing a Raiders jersey and walk by somebody that likes another team and they want to have an altercation with me. Yeah. So, you know, it seems far-fetched and stupid, but it's what we all have been trained to do for life, you know? My high school is better. What do they call it when the football teams go after each other? You know, it's team pride, you know? Yeah. So my neighborhood, and the thing of it is these are probably poor neighborhoods. So that's all they got is to say that our neighborhood is the toughest, our neighborhood is cool. See, when you're broke, masculinity and aggression is the commodity. Because that's all you got. If you're affluent, the money becomes who you are. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If we're in a rich neighborhood and 5 kids got to get in a 4-seater car, the most affluent kids will get in that car. Yes. If we're in the hood, the toughest kids will get in that car. See, so you got to understand what the commodity is in different places. That's why when people like myself who come from that other place transcend into this other world where tough don't really matter, because I'll sue you. I'll sue you. You know? It's a whole nother game. You're like, oh, wow. Now the game is played about who got the money. This is another game. So, you know, a lot of times people come to me for the answers, but the answers are right there. It's just the way the world is fucked up, you know?
So listen, I'm gonna the way you ask is gonna lead on to this. Do you think is gang culture a way of unifying disenfranchised and poverty-stricken young people?
There's nothing wrong with gangs. There's a problem with gang violence.
Yeah.
If you take the violence out of a gang, it's a club.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing wrong with having neighborhood pride. It's a problem with neighborhood violence. If you can get them to understand that, hey, man, you guys are killing each other. Basically, you're helping people that really don't like either of you. You know, you're benefiting the oppressor, you know, with what you're doing. But then again, it's difficult because now you've added capitalism to it.
Yeah.
And it's about money.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, that's how these things are handled in the street, you know? And we didn't invent that. You know, there's been mobs and there's been gangsters forever that handle things with aggression and strength. I think the only chance you got is let them know that there's no evolution from that other than death or the penitentiary. You know, if they're out there hustling, I was out there hustling. I was carrying guns. I've been shot at. I've been hit twice. If I didn't turn into this new Ice-T, I'd be dead.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, for real.
You see what I'm saying? So in my past life, I handled things like that. I had to teach myself that that's not the way. And some of those kids are going to make it out. Some of those kids are going to change. They're going to transcend. Like you, Frost, I'm quite sure you did your time out there causing problems.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's our job to show them that there is evolution. There is another place you can go with those same street sense, with that same swag, with the same moves, but legit.
Yeah.
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 And not face death or the penitentiary.
Because some of these kids, if you take, just like you, Ice, you took that same hustle mentality and applied it to the music game. It's the same mentality. You can still, a lot of these kids can be big entrepreneurs legally because they've got that mentality and that same kind of hustle from the streets. You can apply that differently.
Frost, I didn't do it till a whole lot of my friends died.
Yeah.
I didn't do it till a whole lot of my friends went to the penitentiary.
How did you make that transition from the game on the street to the music game? What kind of triggered you to say, you know what, I'm going to do this? Because it can't have been easy, you know, because you got peer pressure. People don't want you to leave they don't want you to leave the game, and you want to do this music thing. How did you make that transition? Because it's not easy.
All my friends that I looked up to were gone. So all the people that were in the streets that I admired were either doing life or got killed.
Yeah.
You see, so I was like the last one left out of my clique that hadn't got caught. It was just my time. And my boys that were in prison said, Ice, don't come here, man. Don't come here. You know, pick another lane out, homie. Do not. So if the hustler you think is the man, because all these hustlers are looking at somebody else.
Yeah.
Who's got a little more than them, who's got that car, who's got that money, who got all the women. When that guy goes down, you got to ask yourself, am I flyer than him? Am I going to think I could get away when this guy who I knew was a superior hustler to me went down? And I just had to ask myself, and then all my boys was like, don't come here, Ice. Don't come to the penitentiary. In California, they got this thing called the LWOP, which is life without possibility of parole. Yeah. I got friends stuck. They'll never, ever, ever come home. And these are the cats that got at me and said, nigga, if you tripping right now, you got action, white people like you, you got a little talent, do that, man. Because what we was doing is not the answer. You understand? And then one of my partners was in there, Stucky Mac, and he was like, Ice, they say if you was gonna get it in the streets, you'd have it by now.
Yeah.
Do you got it? But I'm like, not yet. And he's like, yeah, and that one more lick, that one more thing is what's gonna send you under. You gotta stop. And I just had that kind of pressure. So the same peer pressure that initially I had to keep me in turned around after they went to jail and pushed me out and stuff. So we all got an OG. We all got a Frost. You had an OG. You had somebody who was your big homie. When that guy turns to you and says, hey, it's a wrap, you're going to do one of two things. Think you're smarter than him or pay attention. You know? And I paid attention and I stopped. I just like, man, I'm not breaking the law no more. You know, and I'm going to focus on this music. But see, what happened for me, the music, rap, didn't have somebody like me in it. And when I started to just tell the stories of the streets, without knowing, I invented a genre.
Yeah.
I didn't even know it.
100%. For me, you were the first gangster rap was Ice-T. I'm pretty sure you was the first artist to have a parental advisory sticker on their album. I'm pretty sure.
I was the first to have all that shit, but you know, I got turned out by Schoolie D. I heard Schoolie D's PSK, and he was repping Parkside Killers in Philly. And when I heard that, I'm like, he's singing about the streets.
Yeah.
He's not singing about parties, you know? You know, he said, put my pistol up against his head, said, suck ass nigga, I should shoot you dead. I'm like, ooh, that's that shit.
Cold shit.
Yep.
And so Schoolie is the OG. Schoolie's my OG. And I just took it and I ran with it. And I took it to another level. Then Cube and them took it to another level.
Oh, hell yeah.
Ghetto Boys took it to another level. So, you know, the tree of what we call reality rap, it went in a lot of different directions. But yeah. And it was only because it was the only thing I had to draw from. You know, if you're going to rap about your life and your life is out there breaking the law every day, what the fuck you going to rap about?
Do you know, Ice, there's something there that might interest you. There's a theory called street capital theory, right? And there's a man called Simon Harding. He compares it to being a casino. And he says that when kids are involved in exploitation, gangs, anything, you get chips. So like if you mug somebody, you get 5 chips. If you kill someone, you get 500 chips. And every day that you go back out on road, it's like being a casino that you're going to gamble your chips to see if you can get more. And that rush that somebody gets when they go gambling, you know, if I put it all on red, I'm going to double it. That's what happens sometimes when young people are faced with a situation, and they call it, you know, street capital theory, where it's like being a casino. It's the same rush. You go there, you make your bet, and maybe you're going to come out a G or dead. And like, that when you're talking, I'm hearing that coming through strong.
It's absolutely on point. But you got to add one more thing. You got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
So you got nothing to lose. So when you're a kid and you're coming home, ain't no lights on, you know, ain't no family there. You know, when I was 18, I felt if I went to prison, fuck it. I got no mother, I got no father, sisters, brothers, living relatives. Fuck it. I could do 20 years. Fuck it. You know?
Yeah.
Now, a kid that's going to Harvard or Oxford is not going to rob a liquor store because they see a future.
They got options.
They have options, and you can see when you can see a future, you won't risk it. But when you don't see a future, you're reckless and you're dangerous, you know? And that's why even now, as being Ice-T now, semi-successful or whatever you want to call me, when I see these youngsters in the streets, I know these motherfuckers will kill me quick as fuck just for a reputation.
Yeah.
You know what I say? I say somebody can push a bullet through a nigga. You know, they can pump their rep quicker, kill a well-known nigga. You know, so I'm just aware of the element, but I can't talk condescendingly to it. I understand it. It's a problem, and it's difficult because being broke and being poor, it's pressure.
Yeah.
It's pressure, you know? And these kids are like heads of families. A lot of times these kids are hustling and taking care of their mother.
Yeah. Do you know what, I was involved, I was exploited within gangs from a very young age. And so at 13, my dad was in prison. My mum had mental health. She just wouldn't get out of bed anymore. Like she couldn't get out of bed. And so when people around me were offering me money, like, and I could put electric on or I could go and get dinner, why am I going to say? People don't understand this, and this is why I get angry with authorities. Why would I say no? Why? There was no reason for me to say no. Yes, there was danger ahead, maybe, but in the moment, I was hungry. And so I think until you've actually been hungry, whether it's hungry for food or hungry for love or hungry for something, you'll never know that desperation of doing anything for it.
It's the results of poverty, right? And, you know, in New York City, there's this area called Canal Street. And Canal Street,
yeah.
Canal Street's where they sell all the knockoffs. You can go there and get a whole Gucci outfit for $50. You know, and it was run by the Chinese. So, you know, go down to Canal Street, they got all the cheap jewelry. You could get a big ass, big gold, real gold, hollow ass chain, you know, but it's fun down there. So one time we were down on Canal Street just running. Usually when I have visitors, they want to go. You know what I'm saying? So I'm taking some people down Canal Street, and I notice it's all Africans. So the Africans now are on the street selling the fake Louis bags, selling all the stuff. And I asked my partner, I'm like, these African brothers is out here, they got no fear. They got no fear. They ride out in front of police. My niggas say, yo, these motherfuckers came from Africa. These dudes were holding machetes at 14. You know, these kids come out of how the fuck are they scared of this?
That's right.
Yeah.
It's nothing, you know? So it's all reference point.
It is. It's
like,
the context of it. It has to be right.
So, you know, looking for right or wrong, it's all just the results of poverty. You do not have affluent kids joining gangs. You do not have wealthy parents seeing their kids getting hauled off to prison. Maybe they fuck around with some drugs later on in life. It doesn't happen. But poverty breeds a lot of bad decisions, and survival is a motherfucker. You know? Bro. It's motherfucker. And even as a street hustler, if you're a street hustler, a drug dealer, and you make a certain amount of money and you finally get to that point, everybody says, get out. They go, you got it. Just go to shit, open a business, stop, you know? So people are trying to get out of that bucket. And it's the way of the world. I mean, if you look at every race, every ethnicity, when people had nothing, they start off in crime.
Yeah.
You know, the Italians, the Jewish mafia, all these people start, but it's based in poverty.
Real.
It's based in poverty. So, you know, crime is absolutely a result of poverty. I've never heard, well, there's another crime where the billionaires are trying to get more money. The white collar criminals, those are the arch criminals. Those are arch criminals. If you're rich and you're still breaking the law, you're really a bad person.
Yeah, for real. No, guys, I wanted to touch on something, because I was reading about this show that you produced called The Peacemaker.
Yes.
I didn't get to see it. I couldn't get to. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? Because the concept behind it just seemed brilliant and so intriguing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was a rough show to do. I have a partner named Malik Spellman, who is actually a gang interventionist. Now, what a gang interventionist is a person who's well known enough in the streets that they can talk to the different sides of the problem.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're not in either gang, but they could talk. And in Peacemaker, we would go in to warring gangs and try to squash the beef, try to get them to sit down.
Yeah.
And you're talking about some high energy, hardcore shit. The show was really hard to do because it was dangerous.
Yeah.
We were really going in right after a drive-by to try to stop retaliation. And Malik was courageous enough to do it. I remember one time we were talking to these gang 40 Avalons, and now you're doing a TV show. Remember this. So that's not real. A TV show, they want to set up shots and this, that, the other. You're dealing with active gangbangers. So there's one guy from 40 Avalons, they had him sitting in a enemy territory. And the producers were not respecting the danger he was in. And I get a call in New York because I'm producing it, and it's him. He's like, Ice, man, you know, they got me fucked up. They got me over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving them 10 more minutes. Then I got to go, you know? And I go, I hear you. Then I got the producer on the phone. And I said, yo, you better shoot this shit and get him out of here. Because if something happens to him, they going to be on my bumper.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with life or death situations. So we shot it. I think we shot maybe 10, 15 of them. But it was just too hot a topic. It's not like a normal show where you could just go on and go on and go on because you just want more episodes. It got really dangerous. So I have 2 shows I'm working on, one right now called Bangers, which is about the LA gang, where it came from. And we're really talking to a lot of the OGs, cats my age, and it shows them when they were active and now how their life has ended up. A lot of them have projects to try to help the youth, to steer people away. They've all done a 180. When you see them when they were young and you see them now, they're not talking that same crazy shit. They learned. They either did 20 years in prison and came out. Then I have another show called Kingpins, which I'm talking to all the cats in Cali that actually were getting the weight. Like when you talk about cocaine, a lot of people might see a key maybe in their life. They might have seen one key. This is all the cats that had hundreds of them that were actually the connects from the Mexicans. So it's about 10 cats in LA. Everyone knows their names. And one guy named John Boy, he was a big baller. He's one of my best friends, and my other partner, Whitey. So you got all these cats talking about the cocaine trade and where it came from and how their life has ended as a result of being big drug dealers, having millions and millions and millions of dollars, and then doing 40 years in prison.
It's crazy. That's crazy. Because when I saw that you'd done this show, I tried to look for it, but I couldn't find it anywhere. Do you know what I mean? But then I read about it, and when you say it was difficult to do, I could well imagine that must have been quite difficult. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was owned by A&E. A&E owns it. I don't know what they've done with it. I don't know why it's not on YouTube, but you know, it's a good show. I'm very proud of that show. But, you know, it's not just something you can snap your fingers and say, I just want to keep doing it. Because it's like we were war correspondents and the war is real.
Yeah, for real.
I remember one night we went in the hood and we got a van of people, and my boy tells the people, don't put the lights on in the van. Like they want to drive through the wild animal country in the van, and they want to flat. And they the idiot turned the light on. Them niggas shot the van up. You know, they shot the van up. I'm like, yo, this shit is real. Like, it's such. There's such a detachment from the reality of it that because people are far from it and they don't really understand it, you know, and. You know, they go, oh, well, guns are illegal or this, that, and the third. I'm like, criminals don't work inside the law.
Yeah.
The law doesn't exist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It doesn't exist. I've been out just since I've been Ice-T going on the block and be like, who's strapped? And like 15 motherfuckers pull guns.
Yeah.
You know, but they would never show them to you that it's there. Yeah. They're there. You know, so it's like, shit is real.
I think people get disillusioned by films and such, and that's what happens. You know, people are excited. They don't understand that people are dying out there. But I've got a question, and let's see where you sit on this. So when you've done these interviews and when you was looking at the people that were involved older, how many of them are female?
A small percentage are female.
Yeah.
We got one girl on the Kingpins named Killer. She was she actually was holding weight back in the day. She was connected to another cat. But women, they play a different part in the gang culture. You know, they're usually the girl of one of the G's. You know, they're like spouses, G's, but just solitary females on their own by themselves. Like in LA, the Crip girls were called Criplettes, you know? And actually, my daughter's mother was a Criplet, you know? So if, you know, the girls, they sag, they do this, I mean, not sag, but they wear the rags, they dress the part, but they don't bang like the dudes. You know, if you're a Criplet and you with me and we going in the spot, we might hand off the gun to you and you walk it in the club. You know what I'm saying? They play a part, a support role. There's things that women can get away with that guys can't get away with.
Yeah,
but they not out shooting at dudes like the way the guys get it in.
No, and in the UK, I don't know, but I can't talk for anywhere else. But in the UK, we have a problem, and it's grown. But it happened from when I was a kid, and we're going on like 30 years now, where girls are exploited sexually within gangs. So what they will do is they will groom them to use them, pass them around or whatever, or they'll say, if you don't do this, you've got to do this and have sex with us, and then you'll have a lineup, man after man will come in and do what they've got to do.
Yeah, that I've heard about that, but that's not accepted around. Rape, child molestation, all that shit. That's not really accepted. That's not gangster. That's corny. And, in the streets, they had these in LA, California, they called the girls strawberries. Those were girls that were doing sex for crack. You know what I'm saying? They'd sit around the dope house and do whatever to hit the pipe because they didn't have no money. So they would use sex. But as far as I've heard this before, where a girl had to get a train ran on her or to be in it. Nah, that ain't Crippin'. That ain't the Bloods. That ain't nothing I ever heard of, because you got to understand, if you go to prison and you got an R on your jacket, motherfuckers is going to kill you. So that's new shit.
Your words are powerful to say that. I'll tell you why. It's because it's like the UK scared to look at our boys and men, because that is happening here right now. Girls are getting train run on them, and they're having to do stuff, and there's very little support out there. For you to say that's not what that's about, and that's disrespectful, and you don't accept that, your words are powerful, because people are going to watch this. Young men.
That's not gangster. That's corny. That's not gangster. You know what I'm saying? It's like, if the girl's part of the set, then she has a reason to be there. She's down with the set. She ain't something that you should abuse. So if you a cat that thinks that's okay, you know what I'm saying? Oh, we gonna rape this little girl, put her in the gang. You a weirdo. You ain't gangsty. That ain't tough. That's a girl. That's corny. That ain't, you know what I'm saying? And I've been in the life. I've been around pimps. I've been around all kind of players. There's different levels of that. You have motherfuckers that are straight kidnappers, that'll get girls drugged and all kinds of shit. That's not respected. That's not respected. That's some other weirdo shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even in the pimp game, we said it was by choice, not by force. Girls is begging to hustle. Ain't nobody got to rape no chick or do none of that old bullshit, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
It's definitely not gangster. That is corny. And any of all y'all tough guys out there that think raping a girl or running the train on a girl to put her in the gang is cool, you a weirdo, and you got to live with that shit. One day you're going to be sitting with your wife and family knowing you raped a girl.
And it's a madness, because, obviously, I grew up watching you. I know who you are. And to be what I've been through, and for you to just say that has touched me differently. I can't explain to you. It's like almost as if I've got somebody on my back going, nah, that's not acceptable. So I appreciate that you said that. Thank you.
Real motherfuckers know what's acceptable.
They
you know
do.
what I'm saying? So, I don't know. I don't even know how you can turn that into being gangster.
Yeah, for real.
You know what I'm saying? I don't understand that. That's weirdo shit. You know what I'm saying? That's weirdo shit.
Thank you for that.
Right. Most gangs are racially segregated. Are they inherently racist? And do their actions encourage racist attitudes from those outside of their community?
I don't think, gangs are racist at all. I mean, you have certain gangs. You got supremacist gangs, white gangs that are racist, but usually gangs are based around territory and who lives in that particular neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? So if it's a Mexican neighborhood, it'd be a Mexican gang. If it's a white neighborhood, it'd be a white gang, black gang. But race is not what they're fighting about.
Yeah.
That's not it. Now, in the prison system, prisons racially segregate.
Yeah.
If you're in the California prison system, all the blacks now, Blood or Crip, are now black. We have the Southern Mexicans, you got the Northern Mexicans, and the whites. In prison, they're forced to segregate. But racism is a whole nother thing. Racism is just hating somebody's race based on that race. And that's another stupid ass thing to be.
Because we're going to touch on that a little bit later on as well.
Yeah, that's stupid.
I've got a question here from our friend Paul McKenzie. He's out there doing some good work. So this is what he says. He says, so do you think that the music young people listen to is linked to the rise in serious youth violence? And also, when you were at the forefront of hip hop, the lyrics were still relative and they were still violent. But did that encourage the violence? Also, why is it important for Black young artists to talk about violence to get into the music industry? What's your thoughts on that?
I don't think you have to talk about violence to get in the music industry. I think if you talk about violence, you pick a lane in the music industry that, is aggressive, hardcore music, whether it's violent or aggressive, is something that you're reaching for, and it's an audience you're reaching for. When I used to perform, there were no girls in the audience. It was just dudes. It was just super, what they call it, masculine toxic.
Yeah.
It was just male shit. But that's just part of the posturing of a young Black man, just being a tough guy. You know what I'm saying? And whether you're watching MMA or you're watching anything, this is just part of it. I was in the Army. I was a Ranger. So they pushed my testosterone to a full fever pitch. You know what I'm saying? That's just a choice you make. Now, with my music, I always try to talk that shit, but also show you the B side of it. Yeah, it's cool, it's tough, but you're gonna end up dead. It's cool, it's tough, but dead. Now, if the new rapper wants to come out and say, hey, you know what I'm saying? I love doing drugs and I just want to get high and shoot and kill. That's an audience he's reaching. He's reaching that same ignorant audience that agrees with that. If a kid says, ooh, I like him and I want to be like him, you know what? There's so many fucking role models you can pick as a kid. There's so many role models. So if that kid chooses to pick this negative role model, well, what can you do about that? But there's so many positive people out there. So there's a reason that particular kid is attracted to that particular artist. Yeah. It probably has a lot to do with it. Now, one thing we noticed with gangster rap is a lot of kids that weren't from it were attracted to it. 50 Cent said it allowed them to go on the safari without getting out of the truck. Yeah. So they embrace it. They want to act gangster. They think it's cool. But what they really don't know is all the gangsters is trying to get out. The gangsters want to live their life. So if it's just a style to you, if it's a fashion, if you think it's cool, if you think it's a way of selling records, I have to disagree with you. I don't really think it's going to... Look at Drake. Drake is the biggest selling artist right now. He's the hottest rapper, and he ain't singing about guns and nothing.
Yeah, for real.
He's singing about women. Yeah, you got Kendrick Lamar. He doesn't sing about it. J. Cole, they don't sing about it. So if you want to do drill music...
I was going to ask you about this next, if you was aware of this drill music thing that's going on. You obviously are. It's crazy. You got these kids that are doing this drill music, making videos, talking about how they're going to go and kill someone, and they're actually going and doing that and incriminating themselves by making a video about it. It's that crazy.
That's how much people want to be down. Mm-hmm. That's how much, motherfuckers is dying to get a rep. They dying. But that lets you know the pressure that these young men have on them to be tough and to be cool and to be that gangster and to be... when I started doing music, I say, if I got to break the law to sell records, I guess I can't sell records. I'm not fitting to get in this music business and then go to prison. That's ass motherfucking backwards. And since I've been in records, you ain't never heard about me getting arrested more than a traffic ticket.
Yeah.
I don't get in trouble. You ain't heard about me getting busted with no guns. None of that shit. If I didn't get busted with no guns when I was in the street, how the fuck I'm going to do it now? You know what I'm saying? So... My gangster was always stay the fuck out of jail. That was it. We can get money, but not get caught. We can't get caught. Now, if I'm going to go on the internet and cook cocaine and show you my guns and all this kind of shit, I got to be a fucking idiot. The internet, social media is the number one tool of law enforcement. The number one tool. You know, back in the day, Pook Loke shot somebody. Nobody knows who the fuck he is.
Yeah.
Nobody can find him. Now they just go to his Facebook page.
Yeah.
There he is. You know, there he's right next to his mom's. There he is holding up money. There he is holding up drugs. You doing the police work for you.
Real.
You know, the cats I know that are still live, that are still crossing that line, they ain't on social media at all.
Yeah, for real.
You know what the problem is that a lot of these kids that we are seeing on drill are exactly that. They're children. And what makes me angry is as a society, we will criminalise a child before we safeguard them. So if we've got a kid making a video saying going to go and kill someone, step in. Don't wait for him to go and kill them. And so that's what I think is that some of these kids don't know the implications of what they're doing.
Thing of it is though, I like the drill music. I listen to it. The thing of it is like, there's something about aggression and hardcoreness that's attractive. The same way I like gangster movies, the same way I like Tarantino. There's something about raw, unbridled aggression that strikes certain people as art. You know what I'm saying? So when I hear these cats talking and all that shit, and I like the sound of the music and I like the beat and all that, I'm getting into it and shit. But at the same time, I'm not saying, oh, I like this artist. I hope he really goes and kills a nigga. You know, like I don't want. And the thing of it is, a kid that's making drill is really trying to be a rapper. Yeah. Like he's already, he's trying to do something positive. It's the cat that's not making the drill music that's really out there active.
Yes.
You need to worry about.
Yeah, for real.
I agree.
You know, like I always tell people, like, you worrying about rappers, the motherfuckers that's gonna come see you ain't never making a record. Those motherfuckers ain't making records. You know what I'm saying? To them, making records is soft.
Yeah.
You know? So, you know, that kid, even though the content might be a little toxic, is still on his way. You know, they trying to do something. So you got to give them an applause for that. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Whether it motivates other kids to be stupid, that's the burden is on the listener, because nobody's making you listen to this shit.
They've been blaming music on everything. Like the Beatles was going to make everyone have sex, and NWA was going to go make everyone do a madness. They've been blaming music for the culture of our children from day dot. So whatever. I
was supposed to ruin your life.
Yeah.
I mean, you know how many CEOs, I walk into so many offices, tech CEOs, all these people, and they like, Ice, I went to college with you, man. Ice, you got me ready for this bullshit, man.
Mm-hmm.
I learned, you know, I've never really had somebody call me and say, I went to jail because of you.
When you done that record Cop Killer, yeah, and you got a big pushback, do people still come at you now? Do you know the authorities? Because I know at one time there was like a big pushback, but a lot of the stuff that you were saying, like, look at it now. Look at shit now. Do you know what I mean?
You know, Cop Killer was a protest record. You know, there's a movie out called Cop Killer. There was a rock band called Millions of Dead Cops. So the theory of making a song about going after the cops, the song was about a guy who got tripped up by police brutality and went after him. This could happen today. At any moment, someone could get triggered by police brutality and decide to go and take revenge on the cops. I created a character. The problem was people liked that character. People like, you know? So they spun it. Oh, I'm telling people to go cop killing. No, I'm just singing a song about a guy. Also, it was a metal record. It was Body Count.
Yeah.
The fear is when you inject white kids with black rage. So, you know, as long as black kids sung it, no problem. But when they saw millions and millions of white kids worldwide saying cop killer, which is really authority killer.
For real.
You know, it scared the shit out of them. It scared the shit out of them. Now today, how the fuck do they feel about it? They don't know how the fuck to feel about it, because first off, I've been on television playing the motherfucking police for 20 fucking years.
Yeah.
Now it's confusing to them because they like, oh, you hated the cops. I said, no, I didn't hate the cops. I was acting then. I created a character that went after the cops. I didn't kill no cops.
Yeah.
So that's an act then. So me acting like a cop, I'm not no motherfucking cop.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to play the cops when I did New Jack City.
Yeah.
My position on the police has not changed.
Yeah.
Hasn't changed. Some cops are out there to do the right thing. We need police. We need some kind of control in life. Some cops are out there taking out their childhood jealousy and envy on people. They're doing a bunch of bullshit. And see, one thing you got to understand, Frost, and I tell people all the time, I never hated the cops because I was a real live criminal. And as a real criminal, the cops aren't the enemy, they're the opponent.
Yeah.
Me and you, us three right now, we decide we're going to do something. We're going to rob a bank. We know it's illegal. We're not mad at the cops. We're going to outsmart the cops. And if they catch us, we don't get mad at them. We cuff up and we play law and order with them. You dig? That's real crime.
Yeah, for real.
A punk goes out on the corner, smokes his weed, gets busted, and gets mad at the cop. It ain't the cop's fault. If cocaine was legal, the cop would help you do lines.
Yeah, for real.
So a real criminal, you don't get mad at the police. They are the opponent. And opponent just means someone that you are up against and you have to outsmart and beat, like any athlete. So the theory that I hate cops, I don't hate cops. I hate bullies. I hate racists. And I hate people that overstep their authority. Whether they wear a badge or not, I don't care. It could be you. I don't like you if that's who you are.
When I'd like to say I grew up watching New Jack City, but I shouldn't say that, innit? Because I was obviously too young. But I did, and that's what happened. And watching New Jack City...
You were a baby, right? Your mommy brought you in.
Listen, right? I don't know. I just lied to her. I was like, Mum, no, it's just a nice film. And she just let me watch it and let me go off. But I watched that, and it wasn't the same as what I was seeing outside on my ends at all. But it is now. A lot of stuff and that's what I try and explain to my own children and the children I work with. I talk about New Jack City because I remember watching that with my friends and being like, "Rah, can you imagine if it's on them levels?" No, we're there. Now we're on them levels.
It's exactly the same thing.
Exactly the same
the block,
thing.
Nino.
Yeah, honestly.
And it's crazy because when you look back now, right, at the time, people must have been, Ice, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you playing the cop? Why were you playing the cop? But to be an undercover cop, you have to be like the way he was. Do you know what I mean?
Look, man, I didn't give a fuck. At the time, I was nervous because I had just put out Original Gangster, and I was concerned. I was about to drop that album, would this hurt my career? But every cat that I looked up to was like, fool, you got action at being in a movie?
Yeah.
And you're going to turn it down on what? You hate the police? Like, why? And that's the thing. I have no allegiance to crime. Like, I broke the law, but I'm like people act like, oh, okay, well, you're a part of the underworld and you have an allegiance. When I had an allegiance to it, but I'm no longer part of it. So, I understand all the rules. I still apply to the code. I never used the police in my life. I've never put nobody in jail. I've never snitched on nobody, But if you don't want to snitch, don't break the law. Don't break the law. There's no way a police can pressure you into telling on somebody if you haven't done a crime already.
For real.
There's no way. They can just say, Frost, you gotta tell. You like, why?
Yeah.
The only pressure is we're gonna put you in jail.
Yeah, that's it.
And
Simple.
That's why people have a problem with snitching, because they like, you're trying to get out of trouble by putting somebody else in jail. Now, if somebody on the street is a citizen and they not breaking the law and they see you breaking the law and they tell, they're not snitches, they're witnesses.
Yeah.
They're witnesses. Yeah, so people got these terms all crisscrossed and twisted. But, once I got over that hump of playing a cop in that movie, I realized that acting is acting.
Yeah.
And if I feel like Samuel Jackson played the slave owner in the Django, the Uncle Tom.
Yeah.
In the Django.
Everyone hated that character, but boy.
Your job is to play the role to the fullest. And I'm about as far as you can get from a cop.
We're going to get into Law and Order in a minute because I want to talk to you about that. But first I wanted to ask you something. Like, the US and the UK have very different laws regarding the use about guns. Yeah, in the UK, holding a gun license is only really for people who shoot as a hobby or hunt. Yeah, as professionals, the average household has no access to guns. Do you think that the UK model or the US model is better? What do you think?
I like the UK model. But you can't do that to the United States now because it's infested.
Yeah, for real.
It's infested. You know, there's more guns than people over here. So, you know, the theory of give up your gun, like my thing is I wouldn't need a gun if nobody had one.
Yeah, for real.
You know what I'm saying? I don't need to have a gun. If everybody's going to go out and fight, I'll fight you. But if they got them, I want one too. When I'm in the UK, the cops don't even really carry guns over there. Am I correct?
No, they don't.
No.
They have like special units that, you know, they get called out for special circumstances. But the average cop, nah.
That's got to be better. That's got to be better. I mean, like I say, I'm military. I love guns. I'm a gun enthusiast. But if I don't need it. But if somebody's coming in my front door with a Uzi, I don't want to grab a butter knife either.
Yeah, for real.
The way you talk about stuff, it's weird and it's really good, is the fact of when you're talking about the gun laws and stuff like that, like I was presuming you was going to say it's better in the USA. I don't know why. I just thought you was going to say, well, no, it's too soft over here. But hearing you put it that way, in the fact that, you know, yeah, you got a gun because other people have got guns. Over here, we encourage our young people to put their guns down. We tell them a gun amnesty and knife amnesty, but we still don't take into account they're out there with other people with weapons. And I think it's important that you point that out in the fact of, yeah, we can tell our kids to put down their guns, but not all the kids are going to put down the guns. And so we're actually putting them in danger. So I thought that was a valid point.
I mean, I carried a gun. I kept a gun on me for about a good 2 years of my life. But I was in that zone, you know? I was in that zone where, you know, people's like, yo, if we see y'all, we gonna get off. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have enemies.
Yeah, for real.
You have people out there that have threatened your life. So you feel crazy walking outside unarmed when you know, when I told Frost right to his face, nigga, the next time we see you, you're gonna die exactly where we find you. You understand? Now, he got that threat loud and clear. Is he finna walk around unarmed? And he knows that we're real about it. He knows that we the business. We not clowns. That's, if you're living in that world, you got to be armed. So, but here, everybody else got them. They're legal. They've been legal too long. It's part of our Constitution, which they love to go to. You know, the Constitution, it also says you can own black people.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, they'd have to rewrite the American Constitution. But gun culture is so embedded in America. Let me say, the United States, not America, because America is a continent. The United States, you understand? That there's nothing you could do about it. It's too dirty right now. So, you know, it's what it is.
The NRA over there has got so much power, man. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, you could just not even mention any.
They make so much money, dude. They make so much money by selling fear.
Yeah, for real.
Sell fear. They say they're going to ban something, the gun sales go up.
Yeah,
you know, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's crazy. You know what to touch on here? Like, we got the thing about some of these. You know, we have this whole thing about Black Lives Matter and blah, blah. Sometimes some of the kids here, they're their own worst enemy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we got a girl that got shot here named Sasha Johnson. She's an activist, she organises Black Lives Matter marches. She's organised a bunch of them in London. Right, the girl's at a party, 2 gang members go into the party and shoot her in her head. She's still in hospital. So, like, now we're like...
Why they shoot her?
We don't know. Up to now, we don't know if
Nobody
it's like...
knows.
No one knows. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, we're out there marching and shit, and then like,
They
this
just
happens.
silenced her. They just didn't want her to have a voice. We don't
And
know.
this girl is like, she's an actress, like, what the fuck? Do you know what I mean?
And one of my partners that was the head of the gang troops in Los Angeles, Tony Bogart, out of Imperial Courts. He was one of the people that was on the forefront of the gang troops. They killed him too. This is how it happened.
Crazy shit. Crazy, crazy, crazy.
Yeah, when you step out in the public eye and you step out, you know, you're putting yourself in danger. You know, she's Black Lives Matter. She might have targeted these cats as being a problem. You don't know.
Yeah,
True.
because people are like, as soon as you say, the thing we got here, Black Lives Matter, it's like we actually mean Black Lives Matter. But they're just twisting it around saying it's a Marxist organisation and all kind of stuff. But it's just like, I don't know, it's crazy. It's crazy. Do you know what I mean?
When Black people said Black Lives Matter, we took the lowest term, matter.
Yeah.
And we didn't say Black lives are the best, Black lives are important, Black lives are great, Black lives. We just said matter. Like, can a nigga matter? Like, god damn.
Everyone had such an issue with it. Like, what is going on in this world?
Crazy. Like the race, the rise of racism and the far right is just like, it's just so blatant right now. Like ever since Donald Trump got in, it's like it was all right for people to say, you know what, fuck it, I'm just gonna be me. I'm racist. Because before I thought things were getting better. But it looks like now it's like people just like, fuck this shit, this is me, and I'm just talking their shit.
Well, you know what it is that, especially in the United States, it's like a pendulum. So as the politicians change place, so like say you had President Bush, and President Bush, it swung over to Clinton.
Clinton, yeah.
Clinton's getting high, so he's like our black president. Then it swings back to son of a Bush, right? So now it goes over to the right. Then it swings back to Obama. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And while Obama's in presidency, all the racists fester. They're mad. And wham, here we go, Trump, you know? So everybody, the people that don't like Trump fester. Chris Rock said the only place left for it to swing now would be Jesus, you know? But, you know, it just goes back and forth. America has an underbelly of racism. It's been here. You know, KRS once said there'll never be justice on stolen land.
Yeah, for real.
Our history over here is so foul and so fucked up that they want to act like it doesn't exist. And, you know, it's just the United States, man.
You know, here is crazy. I'm gonna give you a situation, Ice, yeah? Just recently we had the European football championships, the soccer championships, right? England are playing, right? We get to the final, right? And it goes to penalties.
As always.
Right? This means that final death, yeah? Sudden death.
Shots, right? Yeah.
Boom. 3 young black boys missed the penalties, yeah? One of them, a kid called Marcus Rashford, plays for Manchester United. During the pandemic, this kid went up against the government. The government has said, listen, we are not paying for these school meals. A lot of kids here couldn't afford to eat. Right. Marcus Rashford raises £20 million to feed these kids, challenges the government, gets him to change, to reverse the decision.
Puts his own money in to feed these children. Marcus
Rashford misses a penalty. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
The racism, right? The racism, this kid. And I'm like, hold on a minute. He probably fed your kid. But the racism was like, it was like, and it's just like blatant.
You know what it is? There's people that hate my fucking guts. They're just waiting on me to slip.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, they're waiting on me to slip. And they're quiet now because they can't start something out of nothing.
Yeah.
But if they can find anything, I mean, they just got finished going in on Coco for breastfeeding. Like they have lost their motherfucking mind. They have lost their motherfucking mind. They're looking for anything
to take you down.
Yeah. But the problem is you're insulated by your fans. So Marcus's fans ain't gonna let that happen.
Yeah.
They're gonna hold him down.
Yeah.
The haters will come out. They'll attempt to take him out, but it won't happen because his fans will stand solid. So, you know, it doesn't, none of this shit amazes me. This stuff is not new. This is just the way the world operates, you know? And there's people that are trying to weed through it and make sense of it for the people that can't see clearly. But this is how this shit works, man. You know, I'm older now, so I'm kind of like, it is what it is. When I was younger, I was like, wait, that's not right. I understand that life is not right. Life is not right or just. You know, we can fight for justice forever, but it's not just.
So how do you make that transition from rapper to actor? I know we all know New Jack City. I know there's another show called New York Undercover that you've done. That was, that's probably had something to do with you transcended onto bigger things.
With the acting, I got a chance to be in New Jack City just because I sold millions of records, and they were just looking for young actors. Wesley Snipes had only done Major League. I think another Spike Lee joint, and they just didn't have actors. So they figured, well, Ice has sold a lot of records. He's kind of conscious. He's kind of gangster. Like you said early, Frost, we need somebody who Nino Brown will believe is a player when he has to go undercover. You can get a player to play a cop, but you can't get a cop to play a player. It just doesn't work. So they said, and I got a chance to be in that movie. I reluctantly got in that movie. I was nervous for my career, but that movie took off. After that, I got offered to be in other movies like Trespass, Johnny Mnemonic, Surviving the Game. Movies were coming in left and right. Then I was with Fab Five Freddy at my house in LA, and Andre Harrell, rest in peace, called Freddie. Freddie said, I'm with Ice. He said, man, get Ice to be on New York Undercover. I was like, fuck that. That's a New Jack City ripoff. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh, you too big for TV now, Ice? You blown up? And I was like, all right, give me a bad guy, because I've been playing cops. Give me a bad guy, and I'll do it. And he came with Danny Up. I played a character called Danny Up who did 3 episodes on New York Undercover. That was my connection to Dick Wolf. Dick Wolf liked me so much, he asked me to do 2 more episodes. I did Swift Justice, another Dick Wolf show. I did Exiled, Law and Order, the movie. I played a pimp.
Yeah.
Killed me with a bowling pin. Yeah. Chauncey, they killed me. No, not Chauncey, but I played a pimp. They killed me with a bowling pin. Then I had a show called Players with Costas Mandelaar and Frank Hughes. And after that, I was in LA trying to do a record label, an internet, an MP3-based record label early, before people even knew what MP3s were.
Yeah.
And I got the call to do SVU. And I went to do 4 episodes, and I've been on it now 22 years, starting my 20th.
Can I just pause you a minute there? Let me set the scene for people that don't know this thing yet. Now, SVU, right? The whole Law and Order franchise, for me, has got to be one of the biggest TV franchises in the world, right?
It is.
Anywhere you go in the world, for you people out there that don't understand this thing, anywhere you go in the world, I could go anywhere in the world. I'm DJ all over the world. I check into my hotel. I get the remote control, go through. Ding, ding. SVU's going to pop up. Every, no matter where you go in the world, you start channel hopping. Ding, ding. It's going to come up, right? So, boom, that's going to set the scene. So, you get the call from Dick Wolf, yeah? And like, what was you like? Yeah, I'm in.
I was like, nah, I don't want to do it, because I was running a record label. I had like employees. We weren't making money yet. It was called Coroner Records, and it was going to be one of the first. I was trying to invent iTunes. Now, if you don't believe that, when you get off of this interview, go to YouTube and Google Ice-T invents iTunes, and you'll see me 10 years before iTunes break down what was going to happen with music. And I was attempting to do it. I didn't have the means. I didn't have the formats. I mean, the technology, but I predicted it. I knew exactly, and I was trying to do it. So when they called me to do this, I'm like, nah. And they was like, come on, man, 4 shows. And my boy, my buddy John L., who was working with me, a shot caller from Rolling 60 Crips, he was in my office that day. He's like, go, man, you like New York. We got this. And I went out there to do 4 episodes. And like I say, we just started the 23rd season. I came in on the last episode of the first season. And, it was a life-changing experience, man. 22 years of your life doing something.
It's crazy, because I'm a big fan of the show. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm a big fan of the show. Like, I'm going to go back to season 22, episode 1, the Karen episode, right? When the Karen episode, did you have any input into that? Like, listen, because I was like, this shit's real. I was like, either they got some good writers or Ice must have just dropped in a little thing here and there.
No, they got good writers, man.
because that Karen episode, for everyone, right, it's like the guy was jogging in the park, and I think he was working out in the park, and the white lady saw him, and she was like, "You're the one that done the thing," and it turned out that he was jogging in the park. Do you know what I mean?
They basically came at Mariska for profiling it and called her racist, and she had to go through the system, and then she realized that she was, possibly using what they call it, inherent bias.
Yeah.
You know? And she looked at him and judged him guilty.
Yeah, I think that was a genius episode.
No, as far as me writing lines and stuff like that, I mean, every once in a while, I'll throw a little slang in there, something just keep it real. But no, they write the lines. What happens is after a while, they get the tone of the character.
Yeah.
And they know how I talk.
Yeah.
And they just write it just like I talk.
It's crazy. Because I think like the way that you've got Finn is like, he's really grown. He's almost like he's got a lot of empathy, and he's like, there's an episode I watched when what was her name? Is it Rawlins? She got caught up in some gambling stuff, and he was in the bar with her, and he's like, "Yo, he's like, you know what you're doing is wrong. Get out now." And it's like almost like a father figure on the set. How much? Because you've been there so long. How much of yourself have you put into that character? Obviously, you're never going to be a cop, but you can kind of get bits from yourself.
The thing of it is, the character Finn is really, if you really go into who he is, he's just a cat that doesn't like that found a place in the police department where there's no gray area.
Yeah,
rapists and pedophiles.
Yeah,
that's who he's got issues with them, and that's it. He was in narcotics, but you can go on the take in narcotics. There's gray area in narcotics, but he's found a place where these are really bad people, and he can take them off the street. Yeah. And that's really all he wants to do. He don't care if you smoking weed. He don't care nothing about anything but busting rapists, pedophiles, and abusive people. That's his thing. And I think in the squad room, he doesn't have all the problems that some of the young detectives have. He's a G, And Mariska got issues. She's going through shit. So I'm kind of like the base of all of them.
For real.
And that's the character they needed on the show. I remember when I got the job, Dick Wolf said to me, he said, "You don't like cops, right, Ice?" And I told him how I felt about him. He said, "But you admit we need them, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "All right, I want you to play the cop we need. If I casted you, Frost, and I said, I know you don't may like the cop, but if magically you had to become a cop, I want you to show me how it should be done."
Yeah. Because I got a cousin, right? I got a cousin. He lives in Orange, New Jersey, and he was a police captain, and he's cool as fuck. You know what I mean? Right. He's cool as fuck. Do you know what I mean? But he was a police captain. Do you know what I'm saying? And he's not having that shit. But if you see him, and it's crazy because he went to school with Vinny from Naughty by Nature. When Vinny was here, I met Vinny. I was like, it's crazy. And he's a police captain, Michael. You know what I mean? So yeah, I know what you're saying.
No. I mean, you know what? People take that job for 100 different reasons. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, people become criminals for 100 different reasons. Yeah. So, once again, bullies, racists, people that abuse their power. That's who I got a problem with. And, they haven't made Finn cross any of those lines. Now, as a character, they could make me do that, and I would act that out. I wouldn't go, "Oh, I don't want to do that." I don't really drive that character. I let them drive it. You have to be an actor. One thing, if you want to be an actor, you got to be ready to play somebody that you're not. You don't get to act and then act like Frost. That's not acting. Yeah. They're going to ask you to do something that's not normal to you. So when you watch me on Law & Order, it's called a stretch. But dig this. Playing a cop and playing a gangster is the exact same acting. The exact same acting. Both of you are heavies. Both of you got a gun. Both of you want some answers. And if you don't get some answers, there will be a fucking penalty.
Yeah.
You understand? Same thing. Yeah. So when you see me interrogating somebody, I don't necessarily think in my head that I'm a cop.
Yeah.
I just go to my place like, motherfucker, you finna tell me what I need.
You need to tell me something.
And I know I have the power of the police organization behind me, but in the streets, I got the power of we gonna reach across that fucking table, motherfucker. You know, so when you see that in my face, you can say ICE has interrogated somebody before.
ICE is seriously
He's done this before.
And I want you to think about this before you answer. What is your favourite character you've played? Don't just think. Don't break people's hearts out here.
In all my movies, I'll say
He's digging deep. I love it.
Nah, probably Mason in Surviving the Game.
Why?
Because that was a movie that was 100% Ice-T. I was the star. They were hunting me. They were chasing me. I got to work with, you know, Rutger Hauer, F. Murray Abraham.
Crazy. Rutger Hauer's a psycho, man.
Charles Dutton. And it wasn't like New Jack City, although I was with Wesley, you know, it was co-starring.
Yeah.
This was an Ice-T movie.
Yeah.
And it was like all on me. And that's a fun movie to watch today. Yeah. And they hunted my black ass. I ran through that wilderness. I pulled a muscle in my ass.
Oh, shit.
And that was also, secondly, I'll say Trespass.
Yeah, Trespass is a good movie, man.
It's a good movie.
It's a good movie, man.
And that was because of being able to work with Ice Cube, my brother, and the cast of all the other people from Stoney Jackson to all the different people. It was just a group effort, having all those cats out there chasing people. It was fun.
So, Ice, I know you got, like, a lot of people might not know you got, like a long history with Brixton. You performed in Brixton, right? I'm from Brixton. I recently saw you at the Chip Shop. That was such a small, intimate event. You came there with your wife, Coco. You put it down. That's like a nice, intimate event. But
that was fun.
Huh? That was fun.
That was fun.
But a lot of people might not know the history. You signed some guys from Brixton a long time ago, man.
Well, you know, when you come to London, they put you in a nice hotel, you know? So you don't know how the fuck I know where the tough part of London is. You know what I'm saying? They put, you know, name a nice area of London where they would put somebody like me if I came out there.
Kensington or
Chelsea.
All
right, yeah, I'm in Kensington. All right, I'm in a beautiful hotel. I don't know nothing about London, so I'm like, what's going on? So I go to Tim Westwood, and I'm on Tim Westwood's show. He's been like the godfather of hip hop ever since I've been coming over there. You know what I'm saying? So I was with Tim Westwood one time, and some Jamaicans was like, "We need to talk to you, man." I'm like, "Oh, you got problems, Tim, don't you?" Right?
Tim's got a lot of problems here, man.
Yeah, but you know, that's part of being. That's what happens when you're known.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, for real.
People got issues, but Tim Westwood has always had my back, always shown me love. I got no beef with Tim.
Yeah.
So I was on the show, and he played Hijack, and I'm like, "Who in the fuck are these dudes?" And he was like, "Oh, these are some bad boys from Brixton. They're problem. They don't interview well. They want to fuck everybody up. They're just a problem."
Yeah.
And I was like, "I want to meet him."
Yeah.
All right. And I met Comanche Sly, I met Undercover, Supreme, Ulysses. I met all those cats, and I liked them. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? What they felt was a problem, I was so familiar with, that personality.
Exactly.
And to me, they sounded like a UK Public Enemy. You know? And then Ronnie's voice, if you listen to Rage Against the Machine, they got the same voice,
definitely,
you know?
Definitely.
So I'm listening to them, and I'm just like, okay, you niggas is who? The terrorist group, and you got a samurai dude with you, and okay, y'all are crazy, right? They had a white boy named Lee who was like, for 20 pounds, you can break my nose, you know? Like
I think I know him.
Yeah, so I'm like, yo, these dudes is crazy, but they were so dope and so real and original that we signed them. And I tried to get him a deal. We had him a deal with Warner Brothers, and everything was good. And we dropped the Horns of Jericho album. And unfortunately, the record didn't sell as much as it should have in the UK. And this is the thing about the UK. You got to support your own acts. And maybe people hated on Hijack, or maybe people didn't want to give them their props. But because they didn't move enough in the UK, the United States didn't want to drop them. Because the United States was kind of like, well, shouldn't they be able to move? And it was political, and it killed me, and it broke my heart.
Yeah.
But that's why they didn't get nationally dropped.
Yeah.
But the album came out. The album is dope. I'm still friends with Ronnie and Undercover and all of them still to today. DJ Supreme lives in Switzerland.
Zurich, yeah. That's my guy. Yeah, he's the one that put us together.
Yeah, but that's just like, that's just history. And they connected me to Brixton. I played at Brixton Academy many, many times.
Yeah.
So, those are my contacts out there. And I've met so many different rappers. I actually did a show in England called Badass Television. Ice-T's Badass TV. It was on 4.
Yeah, I think I remember that, yeah.
And I met all kinds of people out there. So, I've always been well supported in the UK. The UK, when I first came out, UK thought I was lying. When I first came out, it was before gangster rap hit. And they like, come on, Ice-T, you're from California. You talking all this gangster shit. UK had only seen David Lee Roth, California Girls. They were like, you're lying. When Colors came out, they were like, oh shit. And so
we were all like, oh, shit.
I was vindicated. And ever since then, I've had nothing but love over there.
Oh, man. Listen, before we go, right, Ice, because we don't want to keep you, we know you're super busy. Kendra, is there anything you want to say before we go?
You've got to let me do something I've wanted to do my whole life. So I'm going to read out to you my favourite line from New Jack City, but it fits so well, okay? The whole drug shit, it's not a black thing, it's not a white thing, it's a deaf thing. Deaf don't give a shit about colour. And I think that suits very much about the interview we just had, and I've just fulfilled a dream, so thank you.
Kendra, you're something else. Kendra's an actress over there. I like that line reading. That was pretty good.
Oh, my God!
Ice-T, my brother. God bless you, man.
Hey, Frost. Hey, keep fighting the good fight, man. You know what I'm saying? There's no simple answers to complicated problems, It's just like, we got to care. And hopefully these young cats will find an exit strategy like I did, and they get to live happily ever after, because down there in the streets, it's nothing but death and pain, man. It's nothing. It's
real,
nothing. We gotta elevate eventually.
For real. Before you go, have you got any plans to come back over here to perform? Maybe with Body Count again?
I mean, we're ready to perform anyway, but COVID just threw a monkey wrench.
Everything up, man.
Last time we were there, we were at Download Festival with 150,000 people in the UK. But last year we had 30 festivals set up, and we all got canceled. They all got canceled because of COVID. Yeah. So live performance is slowly coming back. We've only done one show with Body Count. We dropped an album. We got a Grammy, and we only did one show just recently. So live performance is suffering during this pandemic, but hopefully it'll blow over and we'll be back. I'm still ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Ready to go. Thin in the waist, handsome in the face.
So Ice, definitely, when you come back...
No, come Brixton, because that's right near us.
Yeah, don't worry, man.
Yeah, don't forget us,
me and Kendra will be there. I'll get you on the phone and we're good to go.
We'll be there.
Yeah.
If I come back to London, I'll pop up in the chip shop if nowhere else. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt, my brother. But Ice, peace and blessings.
Thank you so much.
Soon, man. Yeah? God bless you.
Peace.
Thank you, man.
Respect.
Thank you.
Peace.
Bye.
We'll say thank you again for joining me today on this special edition of the Frost Report with the OG Ice-T and Kendra. I think that's our best one yet. Definitely. And all you guys and girls out there, if you're getting in trouble, listen to what we spoke about today. Hope you get something good out of it. I'll be back next month with none other than Chuck D from Public Enemy. You might have to come back in.
I might have to come back. I'm fulfilling dreams out here.
You know what I mean? And look at my T-shirt. Dear Racism, I'm not my grandparents. Sincerely, these hands.
Oi!
That's what I'm talking about. Team Frost presents. Where is it? Boom. Right. So listen, as I said, we'll be back again next month. The Frost Report. Peace and blessings. We out.
I get high, I get high, I get high, I get high, I get high of your memory.